It's a wheelie.
It's a wheelie.
It's a wheelie.
And we're live.
Oh my God. Nice to start that with that.
Amazing. So,
I got so excited about fucking wheelie chair.
as you do.
Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Shit. All right.
Fuck.
Wonderful. So you're very passionate about...
Many things.
Yeah.
Many things.
Is there anything specific you want to talk about?
I can go anywhere for anything. I don't mind today.
Okay.
My question is, where did that can come from? No, look outside. There's a can.
Some sort of a night out, yeah.
But it wasn't us.
No.
So did someone just walk into our yard, put a can there, then leave?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, Reshma and I live together in student accommodation with 4
It's
other
not even
people.
student accommodation. It's a student house.
Right.
There's 6 of us in total. We had a nice house drinking day.
Yeah.
Or evening. And none of us drink that. Because you had, what was it?
I cannot remember.
Some sort of rum you had.
Yeah.
I was drinking schnapps and Malibu. Our other housemate was drinking cider.
Yeah.
And the girls were drinking Ciroc, vodka and stuff like that.
Mm.
So who had that can?
I don't know.
Because that was all that was drinking that day.
It's weird with drinks. Like, girls and boys have different tastes.
I say that. I drink Jack Daniels on a regular.
Oh, right, okay.
I grew up drinking whiskey. Because my parents are Caribbean. So rum, whiskey and stuff of that sort is just in the house.
Right.
So on a table is just cognac, for example. It's just there.
Cognac. Is cognac Spanish?
I don't know. But it's good.
Yeah.
That's all I know. It's all I care about. If it's good, it's good.
That's what matters.
End of the day, yeah.
As long as you're enjoying it. Fucking.
True. As long as you're safe, you're in an environment that you trust yourself in.
Yeah.
I say that like I didn't club 4 days a week last year for an entire 5 months.
It's normal for students. Well.
Oh, I mean, that's the life. 5 days a week.
Okay,
5
that's
days a
maybe
week.
not so normal for students.
No, it's not. Normal for me. Like, you can ask our other housemate. He will tell you I would turn up to class looking like death, but still getting all the work done. And that's all that matters. If you can get the work done, they don't care if you're hungover, they don't care if you're sober, they don't care if you're tired. As long as the work is done.
Yeah, most definitely. You work hard, you play hard.
Exactly. If you can't play hard, stop. Simple.
True, I like that. You're running yourself down too hard.
Yeah, there's a limit to it. Which is why this year I've technically got more energy, even though I feel like I'm bored 99% of the time because of obvious situations.
Right.
Don't need to state the obvious there.
Well, the virus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's shut that I would normally do. So can't do that. So you work around it and do what you can do. Find your own entertainment, for example. But it does mean you save a lot of money.
That's true.
Even though there's a thing with clubs, and I know you would find this. Have you been to a club?
I have, yeah.
Okay, right. So you'll know this then. Women will hardly pay for drinks. We hardly do.
You hardly pay for drinks.
Hardly pay for drinks.
That's
Because guys will come up, be like, do you want a drink? Yeah. Get a drink. And you take it from the counter. You never let them handle it. Because it's so easy to get spiked.
Right. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, whereas men, they don't have the luxury of having a female pay for their drinks. They'll get other men paying for drinks if they are not straight. Point blank.
Right,
Any
yeah.
sort of anything else. They'll be like, oh, do you want to pay for a drink? Do you want me to get a drink? Then yeah.
I've had
And
that happen to me before. It's quite fun, yeah.
I'm feeling there's a story behind that one.
Oh, it really wasn't.
Oh, sad times.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun night out.
I miss going to clubs so badly.
What other stuff did you do during lockdown? Well, before lockdown.
Before lockdown.
That you count now.
Plays and theatre.
Right.
Because I was meant to go watch Prince of Egypt at Easter with my friends and my family. So with my mum, my dad, me, my friend, her little sister, her mum. We were all planning to go watch Prince of Egypt, like the week of Easter. And then, obviously, COVID.
Yeah.
Lucky I didn't book tickets. And then I was meant to watch something else in like August. Because I watched Wicked in January.
Right.
Because me and my friend do a thing where we watch, my friend, she will love me saying this, my friend Claire. Yeah. She loves me to death. I hope so, otherwise this will be very awkward. We planned a thing in January that every single year, me and her together, just us two, would see a play a year, whether it be a musical or whatever. Kind of stiffed us now.
Yeah.
Like, I do theatre, obviously. So do you.
Yeah.
Our industry is shut.
Yeah.
So
That can really affect a lot of people's mental health.
it really has affected a lot of people's mental health.
Yeah.
Because it's not hard to, like, distance in the theatre itself. The problem is the actors. Because how are you meant to distance a role, for example, if you're playing Veronica and JD and Heathers?
Right.
You can't. There's no way. How are you meant to act out a party, for example, when you all have to say 1.5 meters, 2 meters apart?
Of course.
The only way you can do that is if the actors themselves, including the entire team, become a bubble. But that means they can't see family because the bubble will be so big.
Yeah.
So it's work versus your family relations. And in the day, people are going to pick family.
Definitely, yeah.
In any sense of the word, because family doesn't have to be blood.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've heard of the phrase, blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
That's not the phrase.
Yeah.
It's the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, or something of that sort.
What does... Oh, so your group, the relationships that you hold with people...
are stronger than your family ones. Let me find the actual quote, because it
Okay.
is something of that sense, which is why I have this down here.
There's a lot of actors, stage actors and film actors alike. Their way of venting, like similar to sports people, or musicians, their way of releasing their emotions that are built up in their day-to-day life is just acting. It's just being someone else. It's their release. Some people, it's drugs and releasing all those things that are built up from their environment.
Yeah, the quote was right, by the way. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That is the full quote, which I use against my mother all the time, because she's like, blood is thicker than water. Ha, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And then I get backhanded, so...
Oh yeah, understandable.
Never argue with Caribbean mothers. Never do it. It's a bad idea. It's a one-way ticket to see Jesus.
Wow.
Haven't been there yet.
What, to Jesus?
Not to Jesus.
Okay, that's good.
It'd be lovely. A nice, like, near-death experience. But this is the thing. Like, a lot of, I think you'd find this with Middle Eastern parents, Caribbean parents, Latina parents, and basically non-Caucasian parents. They have a very different method of raising children than the ones in, like, Western society.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily abuse, because abuse isn't tolerated in my household one bit at all.
Right.
No go. But hitting is still accepted. Shouting is still accepted. Whereas a lot of my white friends would be like, my parents never did that to me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I got backhanded with a sword at one point. Nah, joking.
Oh, okay, I was going to say.
The worst thing I've had done to me is my mum got very angry. This is where I get my anger issues from, by the way. My mother. I love her to death. I get her fiery temper from her.
Yeah.
We were joking around one day. I must have done something stupid, and it must have just set her off. She was just finished eating the flask, like an actual Stanley flask.
What, sorry?
Stanley flask, so like actual food in a flask.
All right.
Like a thermal.
Okay.
She screwed the lid up and just threw it. It didn't hit me, it was just to scare me.
Right.
Let's say I went to my room, locked my door, and just stood behind the door thinking, no. That's happening.
No, yeah, you're
We laughed about it afterwards. And she's like, I dented my flask. I was like, you almost dented my head. She missed on purpose. She didn't want to hit me. It is just to strike the fear into you.
Of course.
Because then you never do it again.
Yeah. It's that tough love attitude that's made so many people so great.
True, but at the same time, I never grew up with, like, hugs being a normal thing, which I'm absolutely fine with, especially nowadays. It's the best time not to grow up with that interaction.
True. Yeah, of course.
But then a lot of my friends would be like, we're huggy people. I'm like, huh? For why?
Yeah.
I understand hugs are lovely, but at the same time, I'm like, I want my space. I like my space.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm a very affectionate person generally.
Yeah, definitely.
But I have my moods where I'm like, no, don't even touch me. Don't even touch me.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Like, I think our friend went to give me a hug earlier, and I was like, don't. Just not a chance.
Yeah.
It just was not a vibe, not a mood.
And those with thick blood understand that that's just how it is. That's okay.
Yeah.
Resh just isn't feeling it today.
Yeah, just I'm not feeling it, so we're not going to hug. We're good.
Yeah.
It'd be a vibe like that.
It's one of those.
All right, I want to have a theory here.
Okay.
What created the hole in our table?
Barbecue. So the rugby lads had a barbecue and just
Mm-hmm.
put it right on there.
Yeah. Have you explained that this house was owned by rugby lads before?
No, but this house was owned by rugby lads.
6
before.
rugby lads. So we came into the house, me and my other lieutenant, because I am the lieutenant of the house, unfortunately. We love that for me. And there were just beer cans in the bins outside. We found Corona cap lids all over the floor, ironically enough.
Yeah.
There was a broken frog light. We've named him Floppy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Floppy and Flippy we have. Where is Flippy?
Oh, Flippy's at the end of the garden.
Nice. The Buddha's somewhere about. Don't know where he is.
Um.
I think Nathan said he was going to hide it so I can find it.
Oh, he's hidden it. I put it on the corner of that roof over there.
Oh,
But-
that's where he is.
He might have taken it somewhere else now.
I don't know if he has, because he told me like a week ago he's going to hide it because I didn't get to find it because of the rain.
Right.
Because you lot moved it inside, I think, so it didn't tarnish. But there's that. We have random little things around the house.
Yeah.
I think the best thing in the house is your bedroom window
Yes, definitely. I love that bedroom window.
and the bathroom window. Because whoever done the extension of the house just forgot. Fresh air doesn't exist inside the house.
Yeah.
So the only way you get natural fresh air is opening your skylight.
Yeah. Just make a hole in the ceiling when there's no walls.
Honestly, but then that lets in bugs. And we love, well, you love bugs.
I love bugs.
Any girls in the house. Bar me, I don't cry about them. Apart from the one time I did.
Really? When was that?
That was when we were playing Irish Snap.
Oh.
That one when I screamed at you and Nathan for being idiots. Sorry about that, but
Oh
you
no, it's
were.
understandable. We were throwing crane flies without damaging them around
each
like they
other.
were snowballs.
Yes. And then you got hold of it. Then it came to me and Thingy, and we just lost it.
Yeah.
Like absolutely ripped into you two. And then Nathan got hold of it again and threw it at you and it zoomed back in the room. And I just lost my head. I was crying because fucking hell, it's a fly, but I was also laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not even a fly, it's like a giant daddy long legs with wings.
And that fear comes from like millions of years ago, I'm pretty sure.
It's primitive.
Yeah.
Primitive even.
Yeah. It's
But then it also comes from a culture where if you don't know what it is, it could be deadly.
right.
Because I showed you, we have like innocent little golden frogs, like tree frogs and stuff like that, which look so lovely. But if you touch it, you'll see Jesus
From a frog.
from a frog.
Do you know the name of this frog?
I'm finding it.
Okay.
Because, goddamn, they look like you want to pet it. Do not pet it.
Yeah. It's fascinating how animals and just all of nature really works together. There's
Yeah.
the chemicals that they produce, like pitcher plants.
Yeah.
They they don't have acid in the water that the bugs fall into. They oxidize it, which then allows tiny microscopic bugs to grow inside, kind of like mini piranhas, to break down the flies for them.
Yeah.
How does that evolve?
Nature's scary.
Yeah.
And do you think that we're the deadliest thing on the planet? No. Not the poison dart frog. There's another one.
I suppose our
That's
egos.
it. The golden poison frog.
It's got that yellow with the vibrant colours of something that says "Don't touch me."
Vibrant, yeah. But it also looks like, touch me. Just pet it. Don't you want to pet it?
If it was at the table, I would.
Yeah, exactly. And then you die.
Yeah.
Like, it is just, ooh. It's, to be fair, it's coming up to being endangered.
Oh.
It's their own fault.
Right. Yeah. Are people killing them off now, or?
No, they're getting touched by them, dying, and then revenge.
Oh, they're like bees. When you touch them, they die.
No. You touch them, and then obviously it's going to hurt, so squish.
Oh, right.
They're very small, so just squish it.
Oh, right. So like the size of my thumb or so.
No, they're about like that.
Oh, right. Okay.
So you can easily just go, and it's
Yes.
done.
And that creature's life.
Yeah, easy. Like, the power you hold it over little bugs is a bit mad.
It is.
To say the least, it's a bit mad.
I wonder if there are beasts out there that hold that over us.
They are. Haven't you heard of like recent stuff like ancient caves have been discovered with like thousands and 1,000-year-old ecosystems that have just been untouched?
Completely different to what we know
Yes.
above.
Like completely different. It's
Whoa.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Or like, they're opening sarcophagi, like
Yeah.
sarcophagi. Is that what
I think
it's
it's
called?
sarcophagi.
Yeah, they're opening them recently. They've opened one the other day, which in any other culture you wouldn't do. So why is it good with Egyptians?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No, they're mummies. Why are you going to just go open their death chamber? They've been buried. They've been dead for thousands of years.
I suppose because the media takes hold, maybe.
No, it's archaeologists
allowed.
doing it.
But
what's the point of opening them?
yeah.
Like, we know what... Someone just walked past us. I just saw her head. That was really weird. So they're opening them to see what's in them. And I understand it's history and stuff like that. Like, I understand that. But at the same time, you wouldn't do it with, like, King Henry VIII.
No.
You wouldn't want to do it or his stomach exploded upon death. So,
No.
was it him or Richard?
I don't know enough about British history.
One of our kings, at some point, had so much pressure in him after he died that at his funeral, his stomach exploded.
My God.
Disgusting.
That is.
You would have to see it, though.
I probably would, to be honest. Yeah.
You have a thing for stuff like that for some reason.
I'm just a boy. We enjoy Saw. We enjoy Jackass.
You say we. You mean you.
Yeah.
Because we know that one inside would not want to watch that.
True. Nathan does love Jackass though.
But Saw.
Saw, no, definitely not Saw.
No. He would have your head then mine for letting you do that. In order.
Yeah.
I will say, still proud of how I yeeted you the other day.
Yeeted me.
With the leg. When you were trying to run headfirst into the wall.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
See, anyone who doesn't know you is like, why were you doing that? Then you have to remember, you're a male.
Yeah, exactly. We do stupid
You
stuff.
do dumb stuff all the time. And I live with 3 currently. Save me. I walk into the kitchen, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
We'll be throwing an onion in the air, trying to catch it on a knife.
Oh, you've done that. You did it with the pepper as well earlier.
Oh, yeah, true.
I've just turned around like, no, I'm not even gonna. And then there's our other housemate from downstairs. Basically, in our house, the boys live downstairs, the girls live upstairs, but we all mingle all the time. Hence why this podcast is even happening in the first place.
Yeah.
So the other guy who lives with us he was friends with one of the other girls upstairs. One of my friends came downstairs yesterday just to talk to her a little bit. Did you see him like trying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was like trying to choke her out on the couch in a safe way. Don't worry, she's
Yes.
absolutely fine. And I just had to go to her. Do you need help or are you good? Because if she needed help, by God, I'm so small, but I know how to inflict pain.
Right.
So easily. Did you not see Nathan? He had my phone the other day and just went. And he just released.
What, on his shoulder or?
Hand.
Oh.
I just grabbed his arm and went.
Oh my God, is that the pressure points? Or?
No. Do you want me to try it on you?
Yeah, sure. Feel some pain.
Oh my God. So I just went like this. Straight like that.
Yeah.
It leaves a lovely little dent.
Yeah, you've left like a little row of where your nails went into my skin.
My nails aren't even that. No, they are quite long right now. Need to paint them. I'm very feminine in that sense, but at the same time, I will hurt you.
Yeah. If you're doing something wrong.
Well, I do think Nathan backs away when he really fucks up. He just knows I will inflict pain, and it will be so easy and so small. Don't need to kick you. My hands are enough.
Yeah.
Like, simply.
There's a different kind of fear that you get from like a girl than from a guy. It's like
With a
more
guy,
precise.
it's deadly. With a girl, it's pure, oh my God, what are they going to do? Because you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, you know it's going to be planned out to really like strike. Like with a guy, it's just like you'll just get punched.
What's worse is you can just see what's going on in my head, and you can see there's at least 6 different options.
Yeah.
And I'm just picking which is the worst. Just which is the worst.
Jesus Christ.
So like my favourite way to inflict pain is playing Irish Snap.
Right, because you're allowed to do it.
Yeah. So I don't do this normally, but if I'm really pissed off at somebody, I'll be like, oh, do you want to play Irish Snap? I'll play it in a massive group and just make sure I'm next to them. I just make sure I'm next to them, which is why you always get told, especially with me, do not sit on the left of me. You can because you can handle it.
Yeah.
Nathan crawled away the first time he played it with me at this house.
Right.
I moved away from our friend who was playing it the other week because she has an almighty thwack,
Yeah.
which you felt as well. You basically are the punching bag of the house currently.
Yeah, I just don't mind pain. I don't know.
Well, we saw that when we did the test.
The test. Oh, of course. Yeah.
We saw that.
Oh, yeah. This is.
At some point, we need to bring this up because
Are you comfortable with that being mentioned?
I'm fine with it.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
funny.
right.
It's so funny.
We were sat as a group of friends, and we looked up this thing called the BDSM test, and
Like,
it's
I
like
still have my results on my phone.
I don't know what I did with mine. Oh, I put mine on a Google Docs document, I think, or an
Probably something
Evernote
like that.
document, and it gives you percentages of what
Kinks
you enjoy.
have.
Yeah, your kinks.
It may not be exact because not a lot of us have tried. Well, one of us had, but the rest hadn't. But it gives you roughly what you think it would be.
Yeah.
And when I turned to Ali to go see his results and him to see mine, what the hell is up with us?
That.
There's something psychologically wrong with us. Because tell us
True.
why we're both misogynists, but I'm not a sadist, but you are.
A misogynist.
Not a misogynist, a masochist.
Oh yes.
We're both masochists
Yeah.
to varying degrees,
Yeah.
but you're a sadist, but I'm not.
Oh no, I don't really enjoy.
Sadist was up on that list.
Thing is, it's if that person. It's if that person is enjoying it, then I will. But I'm not gonna like.
That makes you a
slap them.
sadist, hun.
Yeah, but not if that person is. If that person, like, if Nathan was sat on the couch and I punched him in the face, I really wouldn't enjoy that. Like, I wouldn't enjoy. It's
Everything on this test is consensual as well. So
yeah,
it's if you consensually punch somebody,
yeah, that's it. It's if it makes someone happy, not
that makes you a sadist.
excellent.
Whereas I'd prefer to have pain inflicted on me,
Right,
which is really weird.
and it makes me wonder, like, because in society that's usually frowned upon.
Yeah, but
like,
think about it this way. When you get a cut, for example, your knuckles right now, you'd find yourself just pressing on it because there's a fine line between pain and pleasure.
yeah,
It's a fine line. And you just got to know where it hits.
yeah,
Like, when I cut my nails, for example, when I have hangnail, I'll press on it because you can get to that point very easily. But there was someone here that I'm like questionable, but we can say for a fact, we're both brats.
yeah, like.
That was like the top, that was like 100% brat for me, 100% a couple other things. But the main one was 100% brat.
Right. Yeah.
Which was funny because I went to your test, I was like, wait, hold on a fucking minute here. Hold the fuck up. If you haven't done this test, I highly recommend doing it. It's a good barrel of laughs.
Yeah.
Do it with some friends. It's so
That's
funny.
it. It's just fun. There's no like dark side to it as such. Like it, in a way, like enjoying pain or enjoying inflicting pain on
Or
someone.
enjoying whatever kink you do,
Yeah.
as long as it's actually consensual
Yeah.
and not illegal and not predatory,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another skill in a way, like whether that skill is brought about from a deficit or something.
It was like when I was mentioning that in my drama group, I knew how to tie a noose because of plays. And then we look at my result, rope bunny. And we wonder why that happened. We wonder why that came about. And then we realise, oh, she knows how to tie knots very well. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Simple.
It's something that you learnt in the past from your environment that
One
created
thing
you.
they say is a lot of kinks come from childhood trauma. Yeah. Makes you think, don't it?
I never really enjoyed pain as a child, I don't think.
Neither did I. No, I've always been good at handling pain.
Right.
I think that's where that comes from.
I was never good at handling pain.
Have you seen the video of me getting my tattoo? Has anybody showed you this yet?
No.
You will see what I mean by it then. Nathan was with me. He came with me when I got my tattoo last year.
Right.
I showed this to my mum. My mum even laughs at it. Did I send it to her? It might be on. It'll be on mine and Nathan's chat. Let me find it. But he went with me to get our tattoo done round here. It was between classes, like dead ass between classes.
Right.
We had about a 2-hour gap. So I was like, my tattoo artist had a free booking because otherwise it would have been. I got my tattoo done. I've had it for a year now.
Right.
Straight up a year. I got it done in early October, late September, around that time period. Why can't I find it?
Right.
I'll have a hunt for it. It's somewhere about on my phone.
That's all right.
I'll find it because I want to show you it because it's quite funny.
Okay, I'll enjoy looking at that later.
And we had 2-hour gap. Got my tattoo done, and he was like, "I want to see how I react to this because he's never seen me react to pain." I was sat there playing the brick games.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, the 9 square game. So you have the row game. So you try and fill up everything to get rid of to create space.
What, where you multiply the numbers?
No. So the games where you have to, it's like 12 by 12 grid, and you're trying to fill up rows to get rid of the rows in order to get points. It's very dumb.
Oh, it's like the Tetris where you got different shapes.
Yeah, similar to Tetris.
Yeah.
But not quite the same. But I was sat there playing that for the entire time I was getting my tattoo done, not reacting at all.
Wow.
I think the only time I reacted was when she paused because I have to sneeze. So I put my head in my shirt and sneezed. She's like, "Now stay still."
Wow.
For the entire time, that was the only time I moved.
That's impressive.
It was. Because I've also got 8 piercings. I've got 8 piercings in total. Mm-hmm. This is my talk about piercings because I have some very, very vim thoughts about this.
Okay.
I've got 2 cartilage piercings on my right ear and then 3 low piercings on both ears. I was meant to get more done this year. My life got screwed up. Right. Can't help that. COVID kind of fucked me over.
Yeah.
But I got 4 of my piercings done with guns. So anyone who knows piercings will know. Big no-no. Needles, obviously you would know this. Give a straight, clean cut.
Right.
Guns, I apply pressure.
Right, yeah. I remember.
The pressure will push through and create a rip, not a cut.
Yeah.
What you want in a good piercing is a good cut. Mm-hmm. Which is why we tell people don't get your cartilage pierced with a gun, don't get your nose pierced with a gun. Lobes are okay, but will heal weirdly. My first 4 piercings that I got, so the 2 lobes, got them both done with a gun. The first ones are wonky. I got them done as a baby. Not my own fault. That was my mum's fault. She got them done at Claire's or somewhere. I think it was either Claire's or it was a local pharmacy because that was when they used to do it. Right. My second ones I got done when I was 14 and I got it done at a pharmacy. It took me doing a significant amount of research because I wanted to be 100% sure I wanted piercings. Still do. Still love them. So I made the right choice there. And I wanted to be 100% sure I could get the best thing possible. Now, at the time, I wanted to get a needle done. Wanted to. My mum said no because it was more expensive. So we got them done for £14 in a pharmacy near my house, like 20 minutes away from my house, with a gun. Mm-hmm. That was the most painful piercing I've ever got. Point blank. Most painful. When it came time to take it out to replace the earring, I had to get my dad to literally physically go out the ear. It got caught on absolutely everything. It was, that was the day I vowed never again will I get gun piercing. And that was the only time I ever remember getting a gun piercing. Wow. It's healed so weirdly that if I keep a piercing out of it more than a month or 2, it will try and close back up. So over lockdown, I was thinking, do I close it up? Because I've got time to close it up now and get it re-pierced? Or do I just live with it? I started closing it up and halfway through I was like, no, because I don't want to pay the money to get it re-pierced.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
If I do it down the line, I do it down the line, but that leaves me with a weird system. Because my piercer we have a constellation piercing getting ready for me. If you don't know what that is when they curate your ear, basically, to what would look best. So all my piercings I'm getting are curated to suit me. So I'm getting flats done, which are just straight across, like, I'll show you, I'll take one ear off. Okay. Just straight across there.
Right.
I'm getting my forward helix done, which is there.
Yeah.
Tragus there, and I'm getting my inner conch done, and it will have a hoop around there.
Right.
So the only studs I'll have are on my forward helix and on my flats. Everything else will be a hoop.
Right.
On that ear, and then I'm getting a bar across this ear, and then I'll let them decide after that. That's how far we got so far, and I'm getting a double nose piercing, which you see me wear a fake one of that. I walked downstairs with a fake nose piercing like a week ago, and you're like, "Oh, this looks good." You say stuff and you just never remember.
No, I have an awful memory somehow.
It's a goldfish.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I remember like information that will like benefit me, but an event for some reason it just goes
out of your head. No, but you did say, "Oh, it looks good." Because I got 2 fake piercings because I wanted to see how it would look. Because I didn't want to get it done and be like, "Oh, I regret that." I figured out the double piercing looks better than me in single piercing, which is what I wanted anyways. The one I'm questioning right now is if I get my septum done. I think that might be too much for me.
Is a septum?
Yeah.
Right.
My uncle calls it a bullhorn.
Yeah, that's what I used to call it.
I like them. It looks good in certain people. I've got one of those face shapes where it's either going to work or it just will not.
I think it would.
Yeah, paired with the double nose piercing, I feel like it's either going to be too much or it's just going to be, that's it. That works perfectly. And then obviously I've got other piercings planned, like my belly button and nipples and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about the smiley?
I thought about it, but I need to get surgery in my teeth because they're fucked up. And braces and stuff like that, so it'll just be in the way. It also can cause erosion on your teeth because it's metal hitting against your mouth.
Yes.
Like constantly. Same with tongue piercings. So people are doing this thing where they get a tongue piercing in a U shape. So they're going round and round. So
Right.
in one end, curved round, out the other. That's incredibly dangerous.
How so?
It goes through all the nerves and blood vessels and stuff like that. It's incredibly dangerous.
What does it mean if it goes through nerves? Like you can't sense taste?
I don't know, but all I know is medically that it should not be done.
Right.
Same with people getting it on both sides, can cause so much problems. So if you're doing it, you have to do your own research. Go to a doctor, make sure it's medically safe for you to get it done because it's not safe for everybody. I know my friend's got the under of her tongue pierced, like that weird bit there.
Right.
That's really popular for some reason from where I'm from. It doesn't hurt that much, that's why.
Right.
And it's out the way.
How,
It also heals really fast.
yeah.
But also, I don't particularly want the feeling of metal in my mouth.
I could kind of enjoy that because I fidget. I feel like I'd quite enjoy the sensation of something there to just play with.
It's also a hidden piercing.
That's
so no
true.
one would know.
Yeah. Unless you go like this. There's no other way.
Yeah, there's no, The only time I've ever seen them is when they showed me it,
Yeah.
or allergy season.
Allergies. How come allergies?
Because you scratch the top of your mouth with your tongue.
Oh, right.
So when you do that, you can see the little flicker of metal.
Yeah.
And then you can't tell if it's a tongue piercing or another piercing in your mouth. But oral piercings are not what I particularly want to get. At one point, I wanted snake bites.
Right.
So the two there.
Yeah.
I now don't.
I have a friend with those who used to be able to squirt the water.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was so interesting to me. At one point, I wanted a split tongue like a snake. And I was like, yeah, maybe a step too far.
Yeah.
Maybe a step too far.
I've always wanted a split tongue, but then there are times where I think like I just want a normal tongue.
Yeah, I think I'd regret it down the line.
Yeah.
Especially having the scars on your tongue.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm good without that. But I had a friend who was talking to me like a month ago about getting, I think it was her belly button she wanted pierced. And she was like complaining about how she wouldn't want the scar. So I told her in the first place, a piercing is a scar, so why are you going to get it in the first place? What's the point?
A piercing is a scar.
A piercing will always leave a scar.
Yeah.
Right. There's always going to be some sort of thing.
Right.
She said, it's going to look ugly, it's going to look like that. I'm like, well, the whole point of a piercing is for it to look like something.
Yeah.
If your biggest concern about getting a belly button piercing is the scar it's going to leave, I don't think you're ready to have it pierced.
Yeah. That's
I'm
it.
never going to tell someone not to get it unless it's obviously unsafe, because there are some like dumbass ones who are like, I'm going to pierce my bell end. I'm like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, first of all, what is the point of that? That's going to hurt.
Yes.
That is going to hurt.
That would.
I don't think that would be pleasurable either. But when it comes to like a belly button piercing, especially because she's really getting into her fitness and really starting to work out for her own stuff, and like, yeah, we talk about stuff like this all the time. This is why I'm not getting mine done as well right now, because I'm obviously in theatre training. You can't irritate that piercing. You need a space of like 3 or 4 weeks where you will not be working. Right. You just need to leave it alone. You need to have air. I'm not in a space where I can do that, and neither is she.
Yeah.
So I did tell her directly, like, I don't think it's a smart idea. I think later down the line, when you're 100% sure that you want it, get it.
Yeah.
But for now, not the best option.
No, definitely not.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
But I am that one friend that everyone comes to for piercing and tattoo advice, because I've got dyed hair, a tattoo, and piercings. I want more tattoos so badly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look. It's a wild Nathan. He looks like a Pokemon trainer. He really, with the satchel. Oh my god, his vocal teacher must have messaged him.
Oh, brilliant. So he's going in for
time.
lesson or?
Yeah, it's too, yeah.
Oh,
So he
brilliant.
must have a lesson.
Nice.
We love our vocal teachers messaging us on the day, half an hour before our lesson, that we have a lesson.
The other day we were talking about serial killers.
Oh my gosh, yes. Because what were we watching? We were watching a shitty documentary first. And then we started watching, what did we watch?
I quite enjoyed it. It didn't, like, modern films have a constant thing of, like, wowing us, whereas older films, they go slow and they, like, reveal it to us.
But I'm also someone with the attention span of a donut.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
unless I can really get into it, like, I'd have to be like, when I was paying attention to it, it was good. But it was so bad at the same time that I couldn't stop laughing. So I felt like it was really distracting in that sense. And then I ended up just being on my phone, like honest to God. I was paying attention to it, but I was on my phone. So
it was called Confessions of a Serial Killer.
Do watch it if you have the time, 100%. But if you're like me and you just need to like get to what they're talking about really fast, it's not for you.
No.
But
we afterwards we watched a different series. I'm learning it to be able to play a character for a Fright Night, and we spoke about it afterwards. What makes a serial killer?
Is it nature or nurture?
Yeah, because nature.
It can't be 100% nature because you've got stuff like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, you can't blame having divorced parents as a sole reason for you becoming a serial killer, because especially where I'm from, the divorce rate is incredibly high, and they're absolutely fine. The same way I said you can't completely blame mental health, but they can be a factor.
Right.
So like sociopathy, psychopathy. You mentioned Asperger's at one point.
Yeah, lack of connection with other people can influence that. If you
the lack of empathy is a massive thing in it, because the one constant with serial killers that I found watching documentaries and movies and like TV on it is they don't feel empathy. Which, if that's the case, there needs to be a link there.
Yeah, they're numb to it the same way that we might be numb to pain because we've experienced it a certain amount.
Yeah,
like you were saying, that they'll start with killing a bug, then they'll kill an animal, and slowly that progression is like practicing any skill like guitar. Yeah, they just get used to it,
and they get used to hiding how they do it.
Yeah,
so like, was it Dahmer or Bundy that used to use acid to melt down the fat and the blood and the hemoglobins and stuff like that? So it ended up just being like plastic.
Yeah, I think that was Dahmer.
Yeah, sounds like Dahmer. Which is, first of all, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. Like, I think I'm so immune to, like, just watching it. Yeah. And now saying it out loud, Christ. That's insane.
It is, yeah. It's, yeah.
I couldn't, like, because we're so used to watching documentaries and serial killers, like, generally, we both love crime.
Yeah.
Not in that sense, but...
No, we don't enjoy the fact that it's been committed,
FBI,
but it fascinates
don't put us
us
on a watch list, please. But...
the psychology behind it, really.
Yeah, what makes a criminal?
Yeah.
We're so used to seeing cases and stories and looking at different killers and just knowing what they do, that you become immune to what they do. And, like, you'll be like, oh, they only killed 2 people. Oh, but this person killed 102.
Right, yeah,
blah,
that's it. Literally the other day I was searching serial killers with the most kills, and then I'd see one that had 40 kills. I'd be like, it's a bit tame. I just saw one that was 100, but it's 40 people.
40 people are dead. And then you got to think about how they killed them as well, because there's like Jonestown in Guyana, which I am Guyanese, I'm half Guyanese. So I remember Mom telling me about this because she was in Guyana during this time.
Oh my God. Did she ever see members?
No, because they secluded themselves. They lived in the jungle.
Right.
I think some of the sites still remains. I don't think it's open to the public, but if it is, when I go back, I'll be visiting it. My mum wouldn't want me to anyway. She would say it has ghosts there, which probably does. Probably does. 100% does.
It's possible, yeah.
There's no way there's none. There's no way there's none there. But the way he killed them was with Kool-Aids and cyanide.
Yeah.
Put in the drinks. I think some escaped. I don't remember how many escaped. It was very little.
Yeah, 900 people had died.
Yeah.
And he just told them throughout the day, every day, he'd have a megaphone speaking out. And
it's insane. And that was a cult, but that doesn't make him any less of a serial killer. It's a cult leader, but a serial killer at the end of the day. But then you look at that versus someone who killed 5 people, but brutally murdered them.
Yeah.
Like, be like, but then on the bat, you'd be like, off the bat, you'd be like, oh no, it's only 5 people. But then you see, like, they dismantled their head, like, gouged their eyes out, this, that, and the other to them. And you won't realise how bad it is until you say it out loud.
Yeah, definitely. It's horrific.
The insanity of it. I can't imagine just going over someone and dismembering them.
No.
Like, I freak out cutting chicken as it is.
Yeah.
Nathan is trying to get immune to blood and all the gore. So he watched me fillet a chicken thigh and couldn't watch me take out the blood vessel.
And you cut chicken like once a week, like, but more than.
Yeah, it depends on what I'm doing.
You're not desensitized to it yet. Like,
it took me ages to get used to it because my mum cooks in the kitchen.
Right.
It took her 3 years to get me desensitized to cutting meat. 3 years. Took
Right.
so long.
Right.
And now I'm doing it. Now I'm like, okay, this is how we do this. This is how we do this. But at the end of the day, I'm holding an animal.
Yeah.
And it still trips me out. Like, morally, I'm like, I should be vegan. But I'm like, chicken. Chicken is good.
Yeah, chicken is wonderful.
Exactly. And I normally try to go for organic where I can. But obviously, I'm a student. I can only do so much with the money I have. And you can always say, oh, but you can use this and this and use this and this. End of the day, is anything really that ethical?
That's a hard one because there's that argument that if the sheep hadn't been brought up in the field, they would have never been born and had a life where, like, if they've been mistreated, if chickens have been put in battery farmed and they're like cages, that's horrible because it's creating a life that is in pain. But if you create a life and allow it to roam free, then you've created a life that is happy. Yeah. You've created a positive thing in the world, and then you kill it and it's like, okay. But
they technically died happy, but they died young.
That's true. Yeah.
The only way I think to be completely ethical is to be completely self-sustaining. So having your own produce, your own farm, your own way of making clothes and paper and all that stuff, which is in our society damn right near impossible.
Yes, there's no way.
We haven't got the space for it, we haven't got the facilities, and it also creates a lot of carbon emission. Because then by doing that, you'd have to figure out a way of transport, which would end up being bikes and stuff like that if you want to be completely ethical. But then you've got smog coming from fires. And then you've got to find a way to get coal for the fires. Or if you're burning wood, you're still chopping down a tree. Right. And that will be, to start off, it will be a tree that you didn't plant.
Yeah, that's true.
And then where does the house come from in the first place? Do you find it?
No, you'd have to
then
go to the woods. You'd have to find clay and nature yourself.
You can't use a tent. That's factory produced because plastic.
Yeah.
You can't use metal. You'd have to start from square one.
Yeah.
Which, why start? And then if you get ill, you can't use modern day medication because that's created in factories. There's no way to be completely self-sustaining. Your clothes, you have to make that. So you're going to have to rear a sheep from birth.
Right.
And create your clothes from that. Yeah. But then the mechanics to use to make your clothes are modern day inventions made in factories.
Yes.
So there's no full way to be self-sustaining anymore.
In a way, that is sort of a good thing because let's say you and I were raising chickens in this house, or the whole house was raising chickens.
God damn, I would love to raise chickens. Don't even start me on that. I want a cat and I want a chicken.
Okay.
I'm naming it Feathers.
Okay. That sounds like a wonderful name for a chicken.
Feathers the chicken.
That chicken, like we'd look after it. We'd raise it really well.
The eggs would be fine to use because it's their period technically.
Yeah,
which is still really trippy in my mind. I'm eating a chicken period. My cakes. But then, at what point do they die?
Right.
And then, do we reproduce with that chicken? Not literally reproduce with that chicken, but do we get a rooster to reproduce with it? Because then if you do that, you need to give them options. You need to buy more chickens.
Right.
It's a weird situation. And then you got to keep them safe from any predators. So the biggest predator we'd have in this area is cats.
Right.
Even though I still haven't seen a stray cat and I'm very upset about that. Still haven't seen one.
I suppose that's good because it means that the cats have homes. They're cared for and
True,
loved.
but we have a lot of roaming cats, if that makes sense. Like outdoor cats. On the other side of town.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so my friend, one of my friends, he lets one of the cats in like every night. They have a home, has a name. It is just an outdoor cat.
Yeah, I have a cat like that called Polly who loves to go down to the nature reserve, kill birds and mice, any other animal.
Yeah.
And then she'll occasionally come home and we'll give her some food outside, but then she'll just
occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that. So my neighbour at home has a cat called Did It. You've seen photos of Did It? Probably because I put that thing.
Possibly.
I put that cat everywhere. I love Did It so much. He is my baby, and I love him very much.
So the thing with raising chickens ourselves is we might have like the care and the compassion and the love.
The feeder.
Exactly. We don't have the experience and the equipment that would cost us a lot. But let's say there's other students. Oh, that is a beautiful cat.
He's stunning. Let's
say there are other households, like other students. Every student in the area owned their own chickens.
The amount of emissions that's going to come from that is insane.
They weren't empathetic. It would cause a lot of emissions, definitely, because it's not an efficient factory. But they wouldn't have that
quality of life.
Because there's so, like the rugby lads, imagine the rugby lads raising their own chickens. They wouldn't give a damn.
They couldn't even like they couldn't even keep an outdoor solar frog safe.
Yeah, not saying that
think
all
it's missing
rugby
an eye.
lads are
Necessarily
brutes, but
bad.
like that's a
But these
stereotype.
specific ones we're talking about here, from what we've seen with the house,
Yeah,
especially.
possibly.
Because we've seen some random bits in the house that should not be there.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know where it's come from.
Yeah,
and
but
like, I know
happens,
that frog was not bought like that. Someone yeeted the frog.
It's possible it was just knocked over on a night out. But
That thing is cracked.
My
Have you seen it? It's missing an eye. It's missing the back of its head. The soul is completely taken out. I don't think that was a knockdown. I think that was a knockout.
It's possible, yeah. Boys being boys playing.
Let's talk about boys being boys. What does that necessarily mean?
I just want to finish my quick point about the chickens. Is let's say men like that, or like not just men like that. Like girls can be like that as well. Yeah. Any person who didn't have the experience and the care, like they just leave them to be. So being a self-sufficient society, it could cause more damage. Yeah,
because what we're trying to do is we had to get from the Stone Age through the Industrial Age to get to this point where we're now like, shit, ouch, well, fuck, I bent my nail back.
Yeah, I suppose it's better this way though, because everyone has food.
You say that. No, not everyone does.
Well, more than before though. If you think 100 years in the past, there were more people struggling, starving.
The 1% of the world, the way we live, is starving the rest of the world. With the food that we throw away, we could feed everybody.
Yeah.
As like Americans, Western society, talking about Europe and America specifically, we could feed the famines in Africa. We could feed the famines in our own countries, in Asia, in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But we don't.
We do. We have charities set up to help those people. There are a lot of people, food aid.
But at the same time, we produce so much that gets thrown away.
Yeah, for sure. Which
that food that gets thrown away or doesn't get bought just gets thrown away. That should be going to homeless shelters. Should be going across the world where we can actually like give it to people who need it.
Definitely.
Like, think about it this way. Think about how much food you throw away. Oh my god, the rain.
Yeah, my skylight is open, but I don't really mind.
I have a wet bed.
Yeah, well, I think my guitar is directly under it as well. But that's all right. We've got 13 minutes to go.
I'll be fine. I think it's just one of those random showers.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? With the food that we produce, we don't need to sustain that much. I think about what we threw away in the last week. We've thrown away entire loaves of bread. We've thrown away entire bits of food, like rotten potatoes you threw away the other day.
Yeah.
Carrots got thrown away. Lemons got thrown away. Oranges got thrown away. All of that we didn't necessarily need and could have gone to somebody else. It could have gone to a food bank. Could have gone to the homeless. Like
that's just general teenage tackiness, I think. But
true. We're still learning about what we want, what we need. If we're talking about society in general, we need to look about how much is being bought versus how much is being thrown away, and think about what that access is, and that access doesn't need to be shipped in necessarily.
What that access is, like how people access the food.
So let's say we as a society in England, this is a random number, I don't know the actual number here. Let's say we buy 10 tons of food and 4 tons get thrown away. How about we displace 3 tons of that?
Yeah.
To where it needs to be.
It's the companies, because my sister...
It's not the consumer's fault necessarily.
Yeah, no, definitely not, unless the consumer is just being tacky and not really caring. But the big companies will lose a lot of money because my sister worked with a girl that would actually go to the warehouses where the food was going to be thrown away and just tossed to landfill. It's because the companies don't spend the time to think, right, I'm going to put someone to the job on this to make sure all that food goes to a charity. What I assume, this is just theory, but...
It doesn't even need to go to a charity. It can just go out into the world where it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. A slight malfunction such as a wrong letter printed on a piece of like a paper. Packaging. Yeah.
That immediately gets thrown away. Why can't that go to a recycling facility?
Yeah.
To be reused.
Exactly.
I don't know what brand it is specifically. I think I heard it was about Nike. This could be completely wrong. I heard when their seasons end for certain trends and certain stuff that's going to be discontinued, they cut up their shoes and throw them away.
They cut them up.
Why don't they go to people who need it, like the homeless?
Yeah.
Like there are people out there who genuinely need it. What about the low-income families? I grew up in a position where if I had any more siblings, like if I had 2 more siblings, we would be low income. I'm just me. It's just me. So I was lucky in that sense. But I knew families where I grew up where any old clothes that I would have would get given to them. So, for example, this jumper is from my friend. She gave it to me.
Right.
Hence why there's a tiny little hole somewhere about what I don't really care about.
Yeah.
Like a tiny little hole isn't going to make me upset. But I know some of my friends, some of my richer friends would throw that away immediately.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why can't you just give that to X, Y, and Z? They're your size. Like, yeah, but they wouldn't want it. Why don't you ask? They might not have it.
Did they put them in the general waste bin?
They would cut them up, put them away in.
They'd cut them up. Wow. There's
A lot of high-end fashion does that because they don't want it just going on the streets, which I think is ridiculous.
It's very selfish. It's like, I paid the money for it. You can no longer enjoy.
Which is why I don't like these Instagram influencers, quote unquote, saying stop fast fashion. Some people can only afford fast fashion, and I'm not even gonna lie. A lot of fast fashion is going towards being more sustainable nowadays.
What is fast fashion?
Primark, Shein, what else is there? Primark, Shein, Romway, ASOS to some degree.
Yeah.
Anything that's cheap and you can buy in bulk.
But it doesn't have incredible qualities.
Yeah, which it's not also terrible quality. It's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Poundland can also be classed as fast fashion.
Yeah.
It's fashion trends that come in and out really fast. So stuff like, what's a really good trend to say on this? Tube tops.
What, sorry?
Tube tops. So those strapless tops that you see girls wear.
Right.
They came in and they came out within 5 years. I have one. I only bought it recently and it took me 5 years to say, yes, I actually like this. So it's about being smart consumers, but we can't blame the consumer. What about the big companies? What about the companies?
Yeah.
What about the magazines and the fashion shows that are telling us we need something that we don't?
Yeah, that's always pumped in. That's constantly pumped into society.
Yeah, you look at social media and be like, oh, for example, this year, the latest trends for fashion, women's fashion, for some reason this came up my feed the other day, leather trench coats.
Right.
Now, why in the hell do I need a leather trench coat?
Yeah.
Why do I need that?
Have you been looking at leather boots or like punk sort of clothing?
Not necessarily. I just look at something. I'm like, okay, what do I have? What do I need?
Right.
And then I'll look and see, okay, I like this style. Let me sit on it for a few weeks or a month or two, and then I'll buy it. So like like the shirt that I bought that we're printing soon, it took me ages to figure out a design I liked, a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, it would be a waste of a t-shirt.
Yeah. I will say, I bought the shirt on a whim. That was one of the only things I bought on a whim. It was £3 off ASOS. So I don't think it was a big set on my budget, and I still love the top with or without the print. I looked at it, I was like, I like this. I know I'm going to like this. Let me buy it.
Yeah.
It's about knowing yourself and knowing that. But going back to what I was saying earlier, the point of it is we are, as a society, subconsciously taught that we need to be on new trends all the time.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
What's
the point of that? Because thinking about this, vintage is now a trend. So clothes that we weren't liking in the 80s because the 90s came about are now back. And the clothes we weren't like in the 90s because of the 80s are now back.
Yeah.
Fashion is always being recycled. So why do we keep throwing away stuff that our children would want?
Yeah, that very much so.
My God.
There's some heavy rainfall.
So like my mum in the 90s, for some reason had the foresight. My mum told me she didn't want children. She had me. Happy accident. We love that. Bob Ross. But she kept a lot of her chokers and stuff and gave them to me when I asked for them.
Yeah.
I lost 2 of them and one broke. Not my fault.
Yeah, it happens.
But I still wear them.
Yeah.
So like you'll see me wear one with like little beads, like a little tattoo choker bracelet with little beads. That's my mum's.
Right.
I've lost the actual choker. We lost it years ago. I have a couple others that are from her that I don't remember which are from, but I have a couple others. Right. But they're actual 90s trend stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and people are like, oh, where'd you get that from? My mother. She kept them from the 90s. You'd be like, oh my God, that's so nice. And they'd be like, my mum chucked away all her stuff from the 90s. I'm like, my mum kept hers.
Yeah.
Like, she grew up in an environment where she didn't have much. So she tries to give me everything, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
It can get to the point where she's not food aggressive or anything like that. She just stockpiles a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily need in the house because she didn't have that.
Right.
She wasn't one of those ones who got toilet paper at the beginning of the year or stuff like that because I was like, Jesus Christ, we didn't do that. But we always had like an extra bag of rice on hand, extra pasta, extra flour.
Right.
Like stuff like that.
Making sure you have enough.
Yeah, we already had masks as soon as my mum, because my mum's a carer. Her work that she works for gave her an extra box of masks. They gave it to all the staff. So she had one box, an extra one. So we already had masks in the house, and she told me and my dad to buy them in like February. So we had masks on hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I going to need them if I'm not necessarily leaving the house? If we're going on lockdown, she's like, you may need them as soon as we go back outside. She was right.
Yeah.
So she forethought that. But that also meant we had 3 or 4 boxes of masks, which I thought was a bit stupid at the time.
Because you could get reusable ones now.
Yeah. We still use disposables because surgical masks are better than cotton masks. They are the most efficient and most effective.
Right.
But they are not reusable. Once it's off, once you've touched the inside of the mask, it needs to go away. You've then contaminated it.
Yeah. Whereas a reusable, you just put it in the wash.
And fine. So I need to wash some of mine. But then think about this now. The next thing that's going to cause a massive thing in landfill are reusable masks.
Right.
Because as soon as we don't have the disease around, people are like, well, why am I going to have to wear this? Whereas you look at cultures like Japan, where masks were already a thing.
I suppose people would still keep them in storage.
Just in case, possibly.
Yeah. Or like, yeah.
But how much do we believe that people are actually going to do that?
We don't know.
Like,
there's no way of knowing, really.
There's no way of knowing. A pandemic was inevitable.
Yeah.
As a black person myself, I don't agree with everything Obama did. I can't condone some stuff he did. But I will say he made me feel empowered. But back to the point I was trying to make. He said ages ago that a pandemic is inevitable and we need to have a system in place. Americans specifically. No one listened to him. Actually, Trump himself cut the pandemic funding. And then a pandemic hit.
Right.
It was inevitable. We couldn't continue living as the way we were. The massive crowds everywhere, the constant cold and flu seasons. Like, we were already struggling with some diseases as it was. And then the American cut funding for pandemic. And I don't know what the pandemic funding was like in the UK, but from what the looks of it is, this year it's been shoddy.
Yeah. I suppose they have done the best they can.
Yes and no. That's a whole other podcast in itself. Because I will say my mum was a frontline worker, and she had to petition and fight to get PPE, which she never really got.
What is PPE?
Personal protective equipment.
Oh, right.
So like the masks, the visors, the aprons and stuff, all the stuff and then Boris Johnson blamed care workers, and it's not care workers, and he blamed students, and it wasn't students. Because I said to my dad had the conversation with me a couple of weeks ago that he's doing the best he can at this current time. But I was like, yeah, but what about March? When he sat on his ass and did basically nothing. He locked down the country, but didn't lock the borders.
Yeah. Which, in a way, I think is a good thing, because my parents were stuck in India at the time, and there were a lot of families.
Not talking about that.
Abroad.
Anyone who has a house here, or who had a passport, a British passport or British citizenship, should have been told to come back to the country, and then anyone who didn't have an actual visa, passport, or whatever it is, who didn't necessarily need to be in the country, who didn't live here, so tourists and stuff like that, shouldn't have been allowed to come in.
Right.
They were still allowed to come in the country. It was the access people. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I was saying, shut the borders. I'm not anti-immigration. I'm an immigrant myself. Well, second generation immigrant on my dad's side, first generation on my mum's side. Really weird concept. But he should have shut the borders to people who didn't necessarily need to be in the UK. And should have had, or if he wasn't going to do that, have a quarantine period from the get-go.
Right.
And the testing they had at the time, because I know it was incorrect.
I think it was.
And now we have better testing.
It would have probably been dangerous to have a lot of people gather into that one area.
Not necessarily, because you can disperse it.
Right.
There are so many hotels near airports, so it should have been no unnecessary flights out of the country, no unnecessary flights in the country, and it should only be necessary reasons to travel.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because I know one of my friends here is from Italy. She had to go back early because the borders were shutting. She's from Genoa, literally the epicenter of Italy.
Right.
She's absolutely fine. She never contracted it, which was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
But the way Italy did it was they shut the borders to people who didn't need to be in Italy, and the people who lived in Italy could come back in.
Right.
It was a little bit of a trek for her. I'm not going to get into it. That's down to her. But she got in fine. That should have been the same thing in England. At the end of the day, we're an island. We always forget we're an island. So if no one in England really had it, and it could have been capped at the beginning, and the numbers could have been capped, it should have been capped.
Yeah.
It wasn't done. There was so much you could have done right at the beginning that we're now seeing the repercussions for. Like, I'm only a 19-year-old girl, but if I could see that closing borders, having masks mandatory, having masks on public transport be mandatory, having 2 meter rules immediately enforced, having venues closed and have limitations on it, should have been done from the first moment we saw the disease enter the country after we saw what happened in Wuhan, China. We should have done it.
Yeah.
We should have done it. There is no excuse for not doing it. There is none. Look at, my dad brought up, I was talking about New Zealand with the way they did it, right? Mm-hmm. And my dad was like, but they're a small island nation, it's hard to get to it. But I'm like, we're a small island nation.
Yeah.
We are a small island nation. We think we're bigger than we are.
Yeah. That's because of the empire.
Yeah, we are literally on the centre of the world map. Because we got Greenwich, though.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, did you know that Americans had America at the centre of the world maps? Not England. The rest of the world has England.
Wow.
Because we go off the Greenwich Mean Time, globally. America's like, America, we're going to have America in the middle of it.
I don't suppose you know the name for the American time.
The Pacific Time and Western Standard Time.
Ah, okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
That was fun. What do you think of that?
I love it. We have to do it again.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Dope.
Fun time.
Peace out.
Oh, no. I'm on the wrong soundboard. I hope I don't get copyrighted for that. I'm
trying to find...
where is it? Hello. No,
not that one.
Welcome. Oh, I can record this now. Definitely not that one. I'm going to let that one die down and...
Oh, God. You fucking twat.
Thank you.